Now we're recording. All right. We'd like to thank the following for their financial support: the City of Atlanta's Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs, the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, and the Georgia Council for the Arts through the appropriations of the Georgia General Council. The GCA also receives support from its partner agency, the National Endowment for the Arts. We'd also like to thank our donors and sponsors, all wonderful people. All we can do without them, of course. Also, just as a reminder, we do get a discount for our digital arts if you guys printed digital arts, and the Atlanta School of Photography, as well as the other places, I believe. So if you guys don't know the code, you can email me and I will send it to you so that next time you can get 15% off at digital arts, which is a pretty good deal. And of course, members like you, thank you very much. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we do get some money through the National Endowment of the Arts, and the arts are under threat. Your voices matter. As someone who worked in government for 12 years before I decided to stop that, I can tell you that it really does matter if you call your members of Congress, call your assemblymen, I don't know if they call them assemblymen here, I should know that, or state senators, and let your voice be heard, because it really actually does matter, especially your local officials. Our current call for entry that's open is airport. It's open until November 17th. Please send in your work. It'll be great. And it always is everybody's talks about it all the time. People come in and say, oh, I saw it at the airport. So you really do get seen there. It is really a cool, cool show. Our current exhibitions, of course, Storytelling 2025, welcome, and Portrait 2025 as well. We had our opening on Thursday. Most of you were there. It was wonderful. I had a good time. I always have a good time, but I had an especially good time this time. All right. And that gets us to our juror, Lauren Richman. She is the William and Sarah Ross Soter Senior Curator of Photography at the Norton Museum of Art. Lauren Richman is a curator and art historian, currently serving as the William and Sarah Ross Soter Senior Curator of Photography at the Norton Museum of Art. Prior to joining the Norton, she held curatorial and research positions at the Sydney and Louis Eskenazi, apologies,
Eskenazi, yeah.
Museum of
No, it's
Art
a mouthful.
at Indiana University, Bloomington, Smithsonian American Art Museum, Terra Foundation for American Art, and Amon Carter Museum of American Art. Richman earned her Ph.D. and M.A. in art history from Southern Methodist University and a B.A. in art history from Vanderbilt. And I'm going to turn it over to her to discuss whatever she'd like to discuss today.
Thank you so much, Brian. That was a really nice introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren. You know that already, but it's so nice to see your faces, especially after reviewing your work. I kind of just want to begin by thanking everyone for submitting their work and kind of trusting the process. It was amazing to see such a beautiful breadth of material. And I know, it can be difficult to put your work out in the world sometimes. So it takes a lot of vulnerability and confidence. So thank you for that. I think just kind of going over my goal for jurying this show was really and this is really what a curator does best, I think, is building a conversation amongst multiple works of art. And really, storytelling is essential for the curatorial process. So this theme really kind of works hand in hand with the process of curating a show in and of itself. So really guided by kind of resonance and a sense of coherence across works, but also, moments of surprise. Those are my favorite parts of exhibitions, things you don't expect when you walk in the door. And, whether it's something that's beautiful, something that's upsetting, I'm open to all of those feelings when I walk into an exhibition. I think the idea of storytelling is such a powerful theme because it is really such a universal kind of framework, cognitive framework. We as humans really like to think and in categories and kind of group things together. And the best way to sort of relate those groups of things is through the process of storytelling. It's something that, is one of our most ancient and enduring forms of communication when you really think about it. And it's something that can work across cultures. It can be about, transmitting knowledge, but it can also be about identity formation. So it is really such a beautiful category and theme for this show. And really, you can do so much with it as well. Um, I think things that were important to me as I was looking through the works were, and things that are always important to me, um, are, strong understanding of light, form, and composition. Uh, Artist statements, Brian and I were talking about this when we first hopped on. Artist statements are so difficult to write. They're really, really tricky. And it really allows you to kind of supplement the story you're telling through your photographs, through words. And it really is an art in and of itself. So I encourage you to keep kind of working on those artist statements, run them by other people, friends, colleagues. The more feedback you get, the better. Um, but what else was I looking for? I think work that sort of challenged and expanded the theme of storytelling. Um, of course, looking for a variety of perspective, a variety of scale, and thinking about subject and mood across different works. Um, and, I think I hope that, well, first, I wish I could see the exhibition in person, but I also, I would love to get people's reactions about what their feeling was in the exhibition or what they heard other people saying, because I think that's really helpful in thinking about planning for the future and also thinking about how your own work is interpreted. But I hope that people kind of feel a sense of discovery and moments of connection are so important in art making, and that's really, I think, ultimately what produces the most successful work, if we're going to kind of use this idea of success, depending on how you want to interpret it. But it's all about connection, feeling related to one another, and of course that's something we all need, especially now. So that's kind of where I'll leave it for the moment. I'm really excited to hear you all speak about your own work, and always happy to answer any questions about me or my background. Or I also actually I wanted to ask, has anyone been to the Norton in West Palm Beach? No one. Okay, well, you got to get down here. It's really nice. It's October. Fall is here. We have some great exhibitions up. Um, I've organized an exhibition of work by Leslie Hewitt, interdisciplinary artist who works between sculpture, installation, and photo. I also have a show up that highlights hidden mother photographs from the 19th century, in conversation with contemporary work by Sarah Vanderbeek. And I will soon be opening a brand new series by Anastasia Samoylova, who's based in Miami. And there's an accompanying book that we published with Aperture. And so we're super excited about that show. But that's my pitch for the Norton. Come see me. It's a great museum. We also have a great restaurant, and Florida's beautiful. So
Thank you so much. I was looking at the website earlier and I was seeing, other than the photography stuff, there was like, what is it? The satire of, um, oh, what's the word is escaping me now? But
the virtue of vice.
the virtue of vice, not the satire, the
Yeah.
virtue of vice, and all the comics, they were really interesting too,
Oh, yeah. It's
especially,
a great print show. Yeah.
yeah. So there's a
There's a
lot of
lot going
awesome
on.
stuff. But yeah,
Thank
and
you.
also if anyone like definitely, I know that we had the opening, and so people were walking around. If you want to also share some thoughts that you heard, feel free to do that after discussing your work for a minute or two here. That'd be really great. I think that'd be really awesome because I know that I saw a lot of great conversations happening. All right, and we'll start with the work. Storytelling. And here are our featured artists. Our first one is Amanda Summerlin, Tree. I really do like this one. Is Amanda here? I don't think Amanda's here. So we'll move on. This is mine, actually, even in victory. I think some of you may know this, but one of the things I really love to photograph that's like really outside of what I usually do is I love independent pro wrestling. It's, I guess, a guilty pleasure, you can say. Um, and I love it because it's like people honing their craft and really still enjoying it and really trying to become excellent at something. And that something is storytelling. I will talk anyone's ear off who wants to listen to me talk about how wrestling is storytelling. I know it doesn't make me cool, but um, I like it. And so this is one of the local shows that we have in the area. And I really love this guy. He's really great, I think. And I think the story he tells in the ring with his facial expressions and everything, even though he paints his face and you get a certain experience from his face paint, he gives a lot of other emotions throughout the match. And it's really super awesome. And I'm really excited that that was picked to be storytelling because that's what I think it is. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to, since we are a small group, I'd love to, talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, this was so great because it really is right in the middle of a story unfolding before us. We see that something has happened before, something is about to happen after, and I just love the kind of mystery that's built around this kind of protagonist here, and understanding what's going on in the background. But I loved that we're just right in the middle of the action, and
Thank
it's
you.
just beautifully composed.
Thanks so much. And if you want to jump in on something that maybe someone's not here and say a sentence or two, because I know that some people will watch the recording later. If you
Mhm.
feel free, but if you don't, also feel free. Christopher Ryan, who's watching who? Um, I don't know if Christopher's on, which is weird. But I know that somebody came in today and admired this picture a great deal, and really enjoyed the work. So
Yeah,
thanks.
this one really blew me away. The power of this young boy's gaze is just like stunning. And then the repetition of gesture kind of surrounding the vehicle that he's in. Um, but yeah, he really has such a confidence in his stance and pose, and um, the tonal range is also beautiful. So yeah, I was super drawn to this.
David Cressis, The Sunset. I believe David is with us.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
Hey. Uh yeah, well, this is an image from a series called Vane that I created earlier this year. We got a book out, no hard sell, but if this is something that interests you, you might want to check that out. But yeah, I made a lot of images in Japan, and I took a lot of inspiration from mid-century Japanese photography, such as Daido Moriyama. I studied him a bit before going and um, adapted his approach of sort of this snapshot, impulsive shooting style that was really hot back then. And ended up creating a lot of images I was really happy with, this being one of them. And what can I say? This is a view from a hotel balcony. And I was waiting on my wife to get ready for us to go out and explore the city and have some fun. And I was watching the people go by beneath me. And I just sat there and photographed person after person after person walking down this street because the light was so amazing at that time. And, looking back at it later, this was my favorite one. And here we are.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's such an incredible kind of graphic construction and form with this photograph. The kind of intercepting lines, from the telephone wires to the lines in the street, but the light in the center, the focus on an individual figure, um, the shadow, and my favorite part is the foot just about to hit the ground.
Mm.
Just there's this tiny bit of space, so it really captures the moment, in movement. You can feel the momentum kind of continuing in this photograph, and um, yeah, and I also love how she's just a bit off center too. It's like, you know, it's nice. It's good not to overthink it, and I think it's just beautifully constructed.
Thank you, Lauren. And also shout out everybody else. I was there at the opening. I was so impressed by the show and the caliber of the work, and really amazing curation too, if I do say so myself.
Thank you. Deja Armstrong, it's all bad news.
Yeah, this one totally got me. The parentheses. Yeah, sadly it is. It seems like it is a lot these days. Um, but just in that note and kind of the close up, um, there's so much to tell.
Doug Da Silva, The Afterlife. No Doug.
Personally, I'm such a sucker for anything that like mannequins or dolls, this kind of reference to surrealism always speaks to me. And certainly coming across a car like this, not only would it be super frightening, but you just really, at least I really want to know what it is, how it got there, and where we are, and who's behind it.
Yeah,
May I?
sure.
Hey, yeah, I really love the variety of head types in this one. Like we have like humans, a gnome, like a teddy bear. So I just love that each head is kind of its own unique genre of head. This is one of my favorite ones in the show.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ekram Nefis, Life in a Clockwork.
Yeah, there's just so much solitude in this photograph, and such a relatable feeling of being like depleted and exhausted. And this is the story. This is the story of our lives in many ways. So, yeah, that one spoke to me as well.
Elijah Pritchett, Second Avenue Institutional Lies.
Love this one. Love the off kilter composition. It feels like it feels very cinematic to me. I think group of neighborhood kids wondering about the abandoned house on the block, the beginning of a ghost story.
Elizabeth Swain, Backyard Legends. I love the middle kid. The middle kid's face is just the best.
Yeah, this reminded me of Susan Lipper's work quite a bit, and just again, great composition. I love odd numbers, so the trio in art history is also such a um, powerful part of so many compositions from the beginning of art history to the present. So nice work.
Juror, Counting Days. Um, I really like this one in the gallery too. There's a couple like I think that the color ones tend to stand out a little bit when we do street and documentary when we have them at the show, and this one does. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I selected maybe mostly black and white or majority black and white.
Mhm.
Um, but this one, I mean, the kind of the serial counting, you feel it, in your bones. This kind of ever long waiting, also very palpable.
I also like that the door is open. I think like if the door had been closed, it's a totally different
Yeah,
feeling. To tell price alone.
graphically so interesting. The light and shadow, the lonesome chair, really beautiful composition.
Ian McFarlane, Quarry Soldier.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
So thank you, Lauren, for selecting this one. This is, it's kind of difficult sometimes to talk about this picture right now. This was taken on July 4th of this year. It's a pretty new image. It's actually kind of a, I'd say like almost a transitional image for me. It's really taken off. And I can say something about that at the end here. But traditionally, I shoot a lot of portraiture with people who I know, but I try to almost give the illusion that I don't know them. And I spend an hour or two with them sometimes. That's, again, my portraiture work. The last year, I've been really trying to get back into a style of putting myself in positions that I'm not comfortable with strangers and environments. And I've taken some trips and literally spent a whole weekend at events and sort of learning the craft of approaching strangers again. It's nerve-wracking, it's scary. I've been shooting for almost 30 years and I'm still getting nervous. This was at a quarry on a July 4th celebration. These are complete strangers. I worked my way into the situation. I finally approached them. I got them comfortable. I started shooting portraits of them all together. And then as the dialogue and the energy changed, this one gentleman here, Andrew, he and I started really having a connection and talking. So I was photographing him primarily, and giving him some direction. I do that in my own process. Sometimes I get people into a position and then I can actually get them to slow down, breathe, drop your chin a little bit, or don't move, or just don't move. That's beautiful. Don't move your hand. Don't move anything. And in this one, really, when the arms came over his head and my finger went off in just a split millisecond, I saw it happen. I had the gut reaction. I said, I think I just got something. I probably only shot about 15 frames the entire time I was with them in about a 20-minute period, because a lot of it's talking and conversing. And I got back to my chair to watch the fireworks and I scrolled through the camera and I looked at it. I said, yeah, I got it. I checked my focus. I checked everything. I was just really happy. So he's a soldier. He actually is a soldier. He's Corey Soldier, it's called. He had just gotten out of the military, 4 years in the Marines. You can see his Marine tattoo. We were talking about his life and what he was going to do now. And so I think that translates a little bit in his expression, in that I wasn't, and he was a little tipsy, but, and everybody around him were his friends. And it just screams kind of Southern moment, I think. The tattoos, the chaos behind them. Again, composition. I've been shooting square pretty much off and on my whole career. Many, many years, 15 years straight of square with my Mamiya 6 back in the day of film. And compositions are limited with square, and especially with my portraiture. And so when this happened and I saw, and this is not cropped at all, this is full frame, and I saw all the stuff going on and I was like, that's wonderful. I think I got something. I actually didn't show it to anybody for 2 months until I started submitting it, because I felt like it was kind of a little gem. And now it's been selected for multiple things. And I'm just, it makes me feel good that, I'm going to stop talking and say, when I have that internal gut feeling, I was like, I think I got something. And then I get the response months later and I get the feedback. And Lauren, you maybe saw something in this image that you selected it for the show. New South, the book that just came out by Atlanta Center for Photography, they selected it. And it just got selected last week for the Atlanta, the Photographic Arts Center in Carmel, juried show by Sig Harvey. So it's like, it keeps moving along the spectrum. And I'm like, I guess this is a good picture.
It's a great picture.
I mean, again, I feel like it's kind of pushing me in a direction of that I wanted to go, and this more of a portraiture, documentary, candid, moment happening style that I'm terrified of. But when I get something like this, I'm very, very happy that I pushed myself through that scary wall.
Yeah. Um, yeah, beautifully composed. I mean, the gaze of the central figure, so strong. There's, for some reason, this photo kind of exists out of time for me. It's like it's maybe not obvious like what decade it was taken in. If you kind of
1978 with that haircut.
yeah, right. I mean, there's just something really um like flexible about it in that way. It can kind of fit different moments. But yeah, the hands meeting, the covering the woman's face, behind the hands, the pose, it's like he's both relaxed, but it's also clear to me that like maybe he doesn't entirely trust you, the photographer.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's amidst a moment of, you know, memory making and kind of, you know, celebrating together. I didn't know it was on the 4th of July, but that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
they were drinking, swimming in the quarry,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and I saw them across the quarry, and I I worked my way across the quarry with my girlfriend while she was swimming, photographing, because unfortunately I don't have a little tiny camera. I actually, that is with a GFX Fuji 50S medium format, and it's a Canon. It's a massive thing.
yeah,
Can't hide it. And so sometimes people look at you and go, "Wow, that's a big camera. You must be professional." And I know it. So then when you ask him to take, can I do your portrait? They take you on a sort of a serious level,
yeah.
because
It's a
you
good
must,
entry point.
yeah, you must know what you're doing to have a camera like that. And so sometimes it's
Hmm.
beneficial, sometimes it's an elephant. And I finally got over to him, and yeah, hey guys, can I
Thanks so
Yeah.
take a
much.
picture?
Well,
Being,
keep it up. I mean, like to me, there's nothing more painful than being photographed. It's like the worst thing in the world to me, but um, I totally encourage you to continue challenging yourself, working with strangers, because moments like these happen that really can't be planned.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Joe
Joe.
Hoyle, woman in a black shirt.
Well,
Yeah.
I,
Oh, Joe. Oh, Joe's here. Great.
yeah, I'm here. I, I'm glad. Thanks for including my photo in the show, Oren, and thanks for including a colored photo in the show. Not to say anything about that, but I just like to shoot in color a lot. A lot of my photographs are in color. Um, I think it's just that, nowadays the camera is reading color, and I just kind of like that, and so I speak in color anyway. The I do shoot pretty much at the hip. I kind of do a, I kind of walk the street and capture the moment, and that's, it's kind of a difficult thing to do sometimes, but it's kind of my style. And so this was taken here in Atlanta on Little Five Points. So I do work in Atlanta area a lot, and then also I kind of venture out into the kind of the outdoors, southern locations and that kind of thing, events, and take candid photos of people. I usually don't, necessarily get involved in getting to know them too much. I'm just kind of like like I said, I just kind of just take a shot and see it. A lot of the times it's kind of comes out of my gut, and I see something before it happens. And so that kind of happens a lot. And I think after years and years of shooting, um, you kind of get a feel for it. And so anyway, this was taken, I think, in 2019. But but yeah, so I just, I kind of, I saw the light was, um, I think the sun was at a low level, which helped with this photograph a lot because it's really hard to take a photograph through a window, and the sun just happened to be kind of low and over my shoulder. And so, and she happened to gaze at me, and she had that look and also that hand on his shoulder, and that kind of, that's what I try to capture. And anyway, and then frame her with the
Yeah,
tile in the window.
it's such clean framing. I love the way you framed it. And you, of course, captured her at really like the perfect moment. Um, I love that the composition is also kind of separated in these triad, like this triad formation, like the tiles, the central figures, and then the ceiling and kind of the inside of the business. Um, yeah, just really strong work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Joshua Williams, March on Stone Mountain.
Again, amazing moment in the middle of the action. You can kind of hear the music and feel the energy in this photo.
Joyce Chen, Talking Hands. This is a big topic conversation for people who come into the gallery. This one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people really love this one. Like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
I
me and my
gotta know what they're
husband.
talking about. Like, are they arguing? Are they laughing? I love what's not told in this in this story.
Yeah, for sure.
Really leaves a lot to our imaginations.
Kaylin Gilstrap. And she told me how to say the title, and I forgot because she told me it more than a day ago. So I'll let her.
Well, and it's French, so please don't let the Midwestern twang and the drawl direct you too much, but mise en abîme. And the reason I named this is because I've entered it before, and I know y'all get these tiny little JPEGs. And so I wanted to draw attention to the fact that it's a picture repeating in a picture with just layer on layer on layer. This is from a project that I've been working on with my family called Digging Up Roots. And I love this image as an entry point to that project because it kind of gets to what I'm doing. Digging up roots is really difficult. Like even just like the action of digging up a plant and its roots it's difficult. You're missing them. You're destroying some of the root ball, but you're just hoping to get enough to kind of to lay out what is there and continue on. And growing up where I did in southeastern Colorado on a cattle ranch that is 17 miles from a town of 75 people, which is
Wow.
an hour from a grocery store, a hospital, resources. So this picture is digging at all of that. And what I hope people see is like this very handsome jawline, but then get really into the picture and see that pickup truck that has years of wear and tear, paint peeling off. It's the arid desert. So the environment is both very beautiful and very harsh. And these are my relatives. This is my cousin. And in the background, that little silhouette is my father. So yeah.
So let me ask you,
Wow.
were you in the back seat when you took this picture?
I was. So I'm
Okay.
shooting over his shoulder, and
I got you.
it isn't as crisp as I like a lot of pictures to be because it is in a ranch pickup in a pasture. So like movement, you're doing this, and it's also pictures of a mirror. So the mirror shaking, and also a mirror, it doesn't have hard lines like
Yeah.
lots of pictures. So there's an ethereal.
Right. Yeah, it's very difficult. I just kept looking at it and looking at it to try to figure out, I guess she was in the back seat when she took it, and I was just like trying to analyze it. It was just incredible. I loved it.
Yeah.
thank-
Yeah, this one, Kaylin, this one just really like sucked me right in. It's just like, you feel that kind of dive into this photograph. The picture within a picture within a picture, story within a story. I mean, there's so many ways of looking at this image, and in some ways, like it can feel a little bit collage-like. I think it's actually very sharp, and I appreciate the different layers of focus that you're bringing forth. Uh, I love that the most focused part or the sharpest part of the image is the smallest mirror.
Yeah.
That just like draws you right into the picture, and then the landscape in the background is almost like watercolor. Really, really amazing work.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for looking so closely.
Great
And I
job,
love that your
Kaylin.
dad is the silhouette right in the middle there.
I mean, that gives you a good view of who he is. Like the hat's always on.
Yeah.
Hat's always on. Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ken Bloom, Otamachi Station platform during renovation.
Is Ken here?
No.
I loved this. At first I thought it was a window, then I was like, no, it's definitely a mirror. Now I think it's still a mirror, but I'm a little confused, and I love that about this picture. Also I'm again, for whatever reason, always drawn to kind of the backs of figures, kind of looking towards a figure but not facing them. And of course, then we see this other subject kind of to the right, mid stride. Um, I do wish I knew what the sign said, but can always investigate further.
Maybe Google Translate can figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lawrence Russ, unexpected caller at the House of Clouds.
This one was just like, I just got such a kick out of it. The T-Rex, T-Rex, right? Just creeping around the corner. Think of Jurassic Park, just very cinematic.
Yep. Lisa Miller, The Sentinel. Lisa's not here, but she would know that she could always get me with pictures of dogs. It's always
Yeah,
going to
this
get
is
me.
great. This is like the dog as hero of the story. I mean, this dog has clearly like been on some odyssey and like accomplished something great. Um, like the hero returns to his home. Really great, powerful image.
Lauren Resnick, Sisters Havana.
I just love this moment of kind of tenderness and care, amongst neighbors or seemingly neighbors, maybe I guess sisters, family members. Um, I think they're passing eggs.
Right.
Yeah, this kind of moment of, you're cooking, you're out of eggs, and kind of needing somebody to help you out, and it's a really special moment.
Luis Leon, Connection and Play.
This one I loved because all of the figures are almost wearing the exact same outfit. And I guess this is just teenagers today. And maybe it always was. I'm sure my friends and I probably wore the same things too. But it's just remarkable, this kind of repetition that's happening across the image in the figures, but then also in the structure, the sort of fence behind them, and then this graffitied wall. Just reminds me of a Winogrand photograph.
Excuse me, Marla, who's this? Dancer at the Dia de los Muertos.
I loved the mid-action moment, and I loved how it's cropped, and that this kind of control. Like we're not being shown the rest of the scene, so we're kind of filling in the story ourselves.
ML Miller, Pigtail Smoke.
I loved the atmospheric sense in this photograph, the smoke, the kind of the feeling of, you know, being on the back of the motorcycle with, you know, this woman right in the middle of something happening. Again, it's like the narrative is unfolding before us, and we as viewers are part of it.
I love everybody has their camera out for this camera phone out for
Yeah.
the donuts or whatever's going on. Phyllis Crowley, Unsettled Thought, and I think Phyllis is here.
I am here. Yes. Hi. This actually was something very different for me. None of my work I would really call storytelling. Maybe some of it I would say is a little bit narrative, but it wouldn't be storytelling. But at this time, my husband was very ill, and I felt somewhat restricted in what I could do. So the series is made up of cell phone pictures, which I took in and out of hospitals, health centers, places like that. And then when I realized that I had a group of pictures I was interested in, then I went back through some of my files and looked for pictures that fit. And this is not a cell phone picture. This was taken maybe 2 years. The series was done this year, 2025. And this picture was taken maybe 2 years ago. I'm not sure. But, and then there was an exhibit, and I think I'm probably going to make a book. Right now, there are about 30 images in the series. And I started it in the exhibit with this image because I thought that it symbolized a lot of the ideas that I wanted in the series. It's a very unsettling image, I think. This is a little girl that I came across. I live in New Haven, Connecticut. I came across her in Washington, and it must have been right before Halloween because she has on a mask. And it was in a playground because I was visiting one of my children who had a very young child. And she was sitting by herself on a bench, and she just looked kind of odd. And I watched her for a few minutes, and then I came over and I started to talk to her. And we talked for a little bit, and then I said, "May I take your picture?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." So I took it. And I think it, as I say, I think it's an unsettling image. I think it's rather odd. The mask isn't on straight. You can just see one eye peering out. There's a little bit of drool. There's a kind of darkness around her. And some of the themes in the story narrative that I have were masking, hiding, not knowing, a kind of surreal feeling, because this is what happens when you get into the healthcare system. You can never get enough information. You don't know. A lot of stuff seems unreal. You feel like information is being withheld or is being hidden. You can't find it. And so I thought she personified all of that, especially not only does she have a mask, but it's kind of off to one side. And in the series, there are about 3 or 4 portraits, and they all have something to do with that idea. She has the mask. There's another image made up of 3 different images where you only see part of a woman's face. You can see one eye and just half of it. And then in another one, which is also a woman, her back is turned. So this portrait sort of reflects other images in the series. And what else can I say about it? Oh, well, when I had the first group of images, I knew right away 3 things. I wanted it to be black and white because, of course, they were taken in color with a digital camera. I knew I wanted them to be high contrast, and this is fairly high contrast. Some have much more contrast. And I wanted there to be a lot of darkness. So what else can I say? I'm curious as to why you picked it, Lauren.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Phyllis. Honestly, you said just about you named every detail that I loved about this photograph. Right off the bat, it is very disquieting to me.
Mhm.
And I think I personally am always drawn to pictures that kind of um, leave me wondering something and kind of eager to figure it out. The detail of the mask being just just slightly off center on her eye was so beautiful to me, and frustrating. And then the bit of drool on her chin is another detail. I think the park bench also serves to create like a vignette, the darkened kind of perimeter of the photograph. And I mean, yeah, hearing more about your story and how this was taken in conjunction with what sounds like an incredibly difficult moment in your life, um, it really fills in the story for me. And I appreciate you sharing it with all of us.
Okay, I might add one more thing. When this was shown, it was a little bit of an installation. This is a fairly large picture, 30 by 30, and
Oh,
underneath were
wow.
3 very small images, which were about, I don't know, 4 by 5 or 5 by 7 maybe, of it was a sort of a grass path with bushes around it. There were different shots of it, and there were dark slashes across it. So that also enhanced the feeling of darkness and
Hmm.
strangeness.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you so much. And yeah, it is a wonderful, it's like right in the middle of the gallery, and it is really a showstopper where people stop and take time to think about it. So
Mm.
oh, thank you. Yes, and I should have mentioned that. I haven't seen the exhibit, so I'm looking at all these individual prints, but I have no idea what the story is because I'm in Connecticut, and it was a little far to go on my bicycle.
totally fair. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, and thank you for speaking about scale too, because I have also not seen the show in person. So I have no sense of what
Ah,
any of these,
ah.
what the scale is for any of these photographs. So that's really interesting. Uh, Glad to know that.
We got Rich Armington, Death of a Diner. And I think actually, just interesting story, not really about the picture so much, but one of the people who came with someone else had been to this diner when it was open. And the
No
diner's in New
way.
Jersey, and we're in
Okay.
Atlanta. And so it was like a super just
Whoa.
random. He's like, is that Clarksville Diner in New Jersey? And I was like, I don't know. Let me find the guy who took the picture. And it was. And he's like, oh, I was there in 1978. And I was like, what? What are we
Wow.
talking about? But anyway.
Wow. Similar to Ian's photograph, this to me also exists out of time. Like it feels like it's maybe in the 70s based on the car, but it's really hard to tell because we're only given this like one tiny bit of context. Of course, a diner like this could exist today, but I mean, there's so few places that look like this, at least that in my experience. And I love the motion of the vehicle being out of focus, real sense of movement. Really love this one. And the tonal range is really nice too.
It is a really interesting image of the gallery too. But I mean, the fact that it's got the diner sign has the neon has air conditioning, so like
Yeah,
it's
love
it's a
that.
bit old that
Yeah,
neon
it's gotta
sign.
be.
Richard Schramm, Deliver Me, O Lord, sales meeting circa 1955. This
Yeah,
one is
I mean,
interesting in the gallery. It's like a more panoramic and it's a little smaller,
okay.
but the whites and the darks, people really, I think, like people really take like a minute to like like really take time to soak in all the faces. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you could squint and you might think every single person in this picture is the same person. I love the moments of disruption in the repetition. The different ties, a couple different color suits. couple different like expressions. I want to know more. I want to know what the sales meeting was about and where it was taken. And I also love the repetition of the hand placement in the front row, which, you know, probably had come from the photographer kind of directing pose. So yeah, it's like a military portrait, but also a corporate portrait. There's just so many different angles in this.
Do we know, like perhaps from Richard's artist statement, if this is a rephotograph and a crop of like an archival photo that he found, or if he took this
I don't
a
know off the top of my
long
head, but
time ago?
I can check and let you know tomorrow. I can check. I can look into it.
Well, how old is Richard?
Ronnie Phillips, House.
Is Ronnie here? I loved the color in this photograph, and the subjects in the window, kind of the only real like proof of life in this image. Even the graffiti on the house in the front, the car. It feels there's a warmth in it despite the dilapidated, you know, structure.
For sure.
Well, can I comment on this one?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's quite frightening. Here's a child who's sitting on a windowsill on the second floor.
Oh, they got somebody holding on to him.
That's true.
They're holding on, but I wouldn't do it with my child.
Not well. Not well.
Yeah.
I agree. That's true.
Steve Travis, Appalachian Homestead. Another person knows I love dog photographs.
Yeah, maybe my bias is also showing. Yeah, loved the you know, vibrancy of the red, that these like kind of wild striped pants that this person's wearing, and the turban. There's a real feeling that we're here in this scene, and I liked that about it.
For sure. Like and it does feel like you're walking, even on the wall. It feels like you're walking into the pathway there.
Mm-hmm.
Tayari M. Barzi, Window Lady. I don't think they're with us.
The expression on the model's face, and I mean, first of all, I love the different planes that are represented, the reflection, the real kind of disassociation from where we are. But the expression on the model's face to me is like really frightening. There's something just like too happy and joyful and expressive. It's like something's not right. And yeah, I loved that about this.
And Tom Meese, Star. I don't think Tom's with us today.
Beautiful composition. You know, these kind of geometric constructions that are in between each part of the star. Beautiful shadow, and the central figure kind of mid-action, just really nicely composed.
Yeah. And I think that Christopher Ryan jumped on in the middle, so I'll go back.
Yes.
Give him a moment.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry I'm late. We were literally shopping at the grocery store next to the gallery, and I don't know what was going on at that time of the day, but it was backed up like crazy. But anyway, Lauren, your bias, as you mentioned earlier, may be showing in this one too, because I didn't think about it until just now, but this is also something that could be in the late 60s, or it could be last week. It was actually in 2023. It's in Honduras. The title, Who's Watching Who, talks about how, you don't know if the model Anthony is watching the viewer, if the viewer is watching all of them, or if the other kids are watching him in the van. I mean, I think most people's first thought is like, oh, all these people are watching this kid in the van. It's antique VW microbus, I think is what it is, something like that. Anyway, so the story here is different than what most people would probably guess. The boys in the back are twins, and I was visiting this village in rural Honduras called Zambrano, where I had been invited to spend a week at this mansion in the middle of a very impoverished village. And the man had found my work online and invited me down there, sort of like sponsor me for this project. And we found the kid Anthony, and then the kids on the side are his cousins. And the man had sent me pictures of these twin boys like multiple times, and kept asking me, did I want them to be in my project? And there was just something about these kids that I did not like, which is unusual because I usually like all kids. And I kept saying no. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I'm not interested in those kids. Like, let's stick with Anthony. So we had Anthony every day for 5 days in a row. And on the eve of the day that I was leaving, the man said to me, he said, I've got to tell you the truth. I've told everybody that this famous American photographer is visiting, and the mother of these kids is like a well-known lady in the village, and that I would get her kids to be in a photo shoot. And could you just like maybe get them, just do something with them? And I'm like, okay, so sure, of course the man had sponsored me, so of course I'm gonna honor his wishes. So anyway, the next day these kids came over, and I already knew the cousins of Anthony. They were awesome. And the twins were like pretty much what I had expected. There was just something unpleasant about them, the kind of bratty. So we had already shot in this van, and Anthony really liked it, and I knew the light was good at the time of the day. So I said, let's go to that van outside, Anthony. And so I said to the twins, I'm like, go hold your hands up and act like you're peering in, and everybody do the same thing. And so I got that picture pretty quick. I mean, he plopped right down into that really nice pose in the great light. And the twins were thrilled because that was all they had to do, and they got to go home. I was thrilled because we got to go back shooting with Anthony. The mom was happy, the man was happy, everybody was happy.
It's a great photograph, really powerful gaze from the central subject, like sculptural lighting on his face and body, really beautiful. And I actually love knowing that the two boys outside in the back are twins, because their poses are so similar, and it kind of repeats across around the vehicle. There's something like a little bit threatening about it, but at the same time, the subject seems so comfortable, which I think creates a nice tension in this photograph.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I'm glad you chose this one. It's one of my favorite models out of about 8 years of doing this international project with children. So he would be really thrilled too.
Yeah, he's a great model.
Yeah, he's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, that's all for the images. We have some time for question and answer if anybody has some questions. Just jump on in. Don't have to put your hand up.
Oh,
but you put your hand up anyway. That's okay. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Ian.
I couldn't remember if I took my mute off or not. This is something I thought about. I was with the portrait Zoom call a week ago for the other show. And after, of course, we all signed out, I said, oh, I have a question now. In the last 3 or 4 years, I've been submitting a lot more than I ever have, especially because the platform of giving exposure with Instagram and with new ways of being found and getting your work seen. I feel like there is a small group of people that are sort of doing this, a handful of really good places to submit, and some that are just tagging along. So I'm kind of learning this this whole world of submission. I was in the gallery world 20 years ago, and then I got out of it, and now I'm trying to get back into it. I just learned about Photo Lucida this year and got into that top 200, and was just like, oh, is this what people are doing now? Okay, I'll do this. I'll do this. So from your perspective, and you come from a museum world, I feel like a lot of them could be scams, could be nothing. You looking at jurors and finding out who the juror is really important. So I just wanted to get your opinion on this new way of being exposed, because we're all tiny fish in this massive sea now of the internet, or not internet, but social media, I guess I would say. So do you have any advice on that?
It's a great question. I have done portfolio reviews in the past. Photo Lucida was one of them. It all depends. I mean, it's like there's no right answer. I think getting your work out into the world is really important if you have the time to do so, and the ambition to do so. Yeah, and I know that for the portfolio reviews, artists often have to pay to participate. And I understand why that is. Obviously, that's not ideal. As a reviewer in the past, it takes a lot of time to review each and every portfolio. Like for Photo Lucida, I think I reviewed like at least 200, and it's a lot. It's hard on. I mean, first of all, like my job is incredibly demanding, but I always want to make time to meet more photographers and artists who I might not necessarily come into contact with. Because, I mean, you can see from this group, these are really strong pictures, like really incredible pictures. And going through them again was like especially exciting to me, because I'm like, oh yeah, these are really good. Like everyone should be really proud of this work. It's that as a photographer or artist, like you said, you are a fish in a sea of millions of other fish, and there's no one way or right way to do it. It's really so much about timing and connection. It's like if someone really responds to your work, that could be it, and that
Also,
could really make it take off.
I feel like it's also kind of repetitive, in the sense of keep submitting, trying to get in, and then eventually people start to remember your name, remember your work. You know, if I got into Photo Lucida, I tried to make the top 50, I did not. But I went ahead and paid because I thought that was an incredible opportunity to have my work in front of 100 people in the industry for that price was tiny. And so, you know, and then, you know, I've entered a couple with Elizabeth Avedon. She's selected me twice, and she's a wonderful person in the industry. And it's like, I hope that people like that. Bree Lamb was the juror for the portrait show. So it's just like, there's this like little world that I'm finding that's really connected, and you just got to keep trying. I mean, it costs money, and you got to submit, and then you have to ship your work and frame it and get it to the gallery if you make it in there. But I get discouraged, and then I get like, oh, okay, I'm going to submit to this. And when I saw the storytelling one, again, the gentleman earlier who was, or no, I'm sorry, Phyllis, who was saying like, I necessarily didn't think my work was storytelling, but some of this new work I'm doing with these strangers and these moments, I was like, when I saw it was for storytelling, I said, oh, I have to send this one in.
Yeah. It's a really tough, the art world is extremely tough. Like there is just so much rejection, and you know, there is like the photo curator community is so small, and you know, we're all talking to each other, and we meet up with each other at art fairs and whatnot, and share what we're working on. And so like when we're sharing what we're working on, then like that name gets passed along, and then people become more interested in that artist. it's like, you know, I feel like some artists today care less about the museum space and more about the gallery space. That's something that I've been experiencing in the past like 6 months, which has been really interesting to me because usually like an institutional show at a museum is like the pinnacle of success for an artist.
And that feels
But
unattainable. The gallery scene, I think, can feel
yeah,
possible. Museum, not even close. That feels
yeah.
unattainable. Until you've achieved a certain gallery presence. And then the museum world will say, okay, now we'll talk to you. Now we'll look at you.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hey, Ian.
baby steps.
Yeah, it's just like persistence and really listening to the feedback that you get from people and trying so hard to be open to criticism
Oh, yeah.
because it's hard as a reviewer to be critical with artists because this is work that's incredibly personal and meaningful to you. And but if it's not good, it's like it's just not good. Or if the artist statement isn't strong, it can ruin how I look at the photographs. So it's like it's about this kind of
It's timing. Timing is huge.
getting the recipe right, and there's no one recipe, which makes it all the more opaque and confusing and
Okay.
frustrating. So I totally understand. It's the same coming from the curatorial world. Like, what do I have to do to, become a star or like, be a curator at the Metropolitan Museum of Art? Like, what does it take? And there really is no one answer. It's so much about networks and connections and
Timing.
persistence.
Yeah. And luck. A little luck.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since this is storytelling, I'm curious, with when you were with your process, if how much you went into artist statements on this one in particular.
Honestly, I always start with the pictures.
Yeah.
And I kind of go through, and then I return to the artist statement. Because, like I just said, sometimes the pictures are way better than the artist statement. And I want to lead with the pictures because kind of forming your own identity as an artist happens over time, and it happens with practice and opportunity and exposure. And there are many different parts of the art world. Like if you're in an MFA program, they're going to teach you, hopefully if it's a good MFA program, they're going to teach you how to conceptualize of like your artistic identity and how to write about your work. And that's really crucial. But if you're not coming from the sort of academic part of the art world, maybe you're coming from the commercial part, and that's a completely different story. So it kind of depends on what your goals are as an artist. But yeah, primarily I start with the images, the artwork, and then I look to the text secondarily.
Well, and I would anticipate that. I'm kind of curious if like, if it comes down to when you are pinning down the images, if that, and I'm guessing this is the case, if an artist statement can push an image above someone else's.
Yeah, I think it could. If someone really understands their work and what makes it strong, I think it could be part of a deciding factor because that's like the entire package. The entire package is the artwork that's stellar, the artist who speaks well about their work and is knowledgeable about their work and their artistic practice and identity. And then, like, to top it all off, public speaking is also so important too. I remember I went to hear Alan McCullum speak. I don't know if anyone's familiar with his work. He's a painter, but I sat in the audience and I was just like dumbfounded because he was such a bad public speaker. And I was like, oh, like I've read so many articles, like journal articles and book chapters about this man's work. And I'm like, the art historians have been doing this man, like they have made his work what it is in some ways. Um, because he just did not like represent himself and his work um, in the way that I think it had been like set on a pedestal, maybe. So it's really about kind of cultivating that complete package, but it's hard, and we all have different strengths and weaknesses that we bring to the table.
No, I really appreciate that because I am from the commercial side, and my education, I recently told oh, they were having like I have a yearly thing with kids. And they brought up this conversation about like the levels of education. And they're like Kaylin, bachelor's or master's, right? And I'm like, I have an associate's, and then I interned and assisted other photographers for like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So my education is very hands-on. So I appreciate the wisdom also that Ian was pulling out there. But also the reason I got started in APG and the reason I know Brian is we took an artist statement class together.
Really?
Wow. And I still am pulling my hair over it, but as I get deeper, it becomes less painful. And I'm more drawn, and I've found that I'm more drawn to people's why. Oh, and if I could share this, because I did talk to Gio about his picture with the tally numbers on the prison wall.
On the wall. Yeah.
It is at the Bushy Mountain Penitentiary, which is where it's where James Earl Ray, who assassinated MLK, was incarcerated and escaped.
Wow.
And there is a crazy marathon around that place because it is one of the toughest grounds, and it's called the Barkley Marathon. So there's so many layers to that picture.
Wow.
And I told him that I'd seen a cell picture like that before, but without the tally numbers, and it wasn't as effective and invigorating and awful.
Yeah.
But all of that was, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that.
Time for one more, maybe?
I'm curious, how many artists submitted to this, if I may ask that question?
I don't like to give out proprietary information.
All right.
There was I think I don't to be honest, I don't remember off the top of my head. I can find out for you and let you know. But it was something around 60 or more for sure. Because most of our call for entries are always over 60. That's for sure.
Yeah. Lauren had a lot of work cut out for her.
Yeah, because there was like hundreds of images, hundreds and hundreds. Because like you can you can enter between 3 and 8 depending on your decision.
Right.
So like there were literally hundreds of pictures.
And that was the other thing that was part of my intention for this process. There were a lot of groups of photographs that I was super drawn to, and I wanted to include more than one photo by certain photographers, but I really pushed myself to select just one from each artist to be able to include more voices in the show and really kind of a bigger and broader variety of work. So
I think you
so
really
to all
see
of you
that, for
out
sure.
there, I liked the rest of your work too. It was really hard to pick one.
Nice.
And I think like with storytelling is not usually something that I photograph either. Like images is not something that I usually enter, but I think that there is like Lauren just said, there's a wide breadth of storytelling, and it's really cool to see that in the gallery, to see all these different styles of storytelling. from everyone. It's really cool to see. And I'll
Yeah.
definitely be sending Lauren some gallery shots when I can.
Yeah, I can't wait to
But
see it.
it's
And I
really
just,
great.
one thing I forgot to say when I was talking to Kayla. Hold on, my things just died. Can you hear me still?
Yep.
Okay. One other thing I was going to say about the artist statement, I think, and this is so hard to do because we can be so insular with ourselves and our own work. It's really hard to like separate ourselves from our own work. Really understanding how your work fits into the context, wider context of photo history, of social history, of any kind of key markers that you can connect to your work, I think just takes it to a whole new level. Having that wisdom and insight to take yourself out of it for a moment and really think about how this fits in and why it's important and why we should be looking at it and excited about it.
It's a great piece of advice for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I think I'll call it to a close. I think, is there another? Hold on. Oh, of course. Thank you. I didn't want to forget the last thing. Really, thank you everybody for coming and talking about your work. I always appreciate hearing from you guys. I love everybody's work that I've seen today, obviously. Mainly because you're all my friends, but even if you weren't my friends, I'd like most of them. No, I'm kidding. You guys are all great. And a special thank you to Lauren, who was amazing as well. And yeah, if anybody has any other questions, feel free to email me and let me know what's going on.
Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much, everyone. You're wonderful. Come visit me at the Norton. It's a very unexpected place, so I highly encourage a visit. And I'll try to get out to Atlanta soon, too.
But that'd be great.
Great.
Stop by.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great one.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
y'all. It's been an honor.